name is Deb Pelletier. I'm a whole body vibration training specialist. I've been in the health business for a number of years, and one of my other passions is detoxification. And I'm delighted to be able to talk to you today, joined by the president of Healthier Living for You, John Jacobs. John founded Healthier Living for You back in 2004 as a result of his own family's profound experiences and success with alternative health product solutions. His mission is to bring alternative health products to you at home, to you in your business, to your home business. And we're going to go through some commonly asked questions if you're looking at detoxification. Talk a little bit more in depth about the system that John's talking about today. And one of the exciting products we're going to explore a little deeper is the Hyperbath Detox system. John, if you could start, I would love to say welcome today. Thank you for joining us. And one of the big questions I guess everybody has in their mind is, what are the benefits of this Hyperbath?
Well, thanks, Deb. Thanks for inviting me on here. And yeah, I just want to share a wee bit with our Detox foot bath. It's Hyperbath. It's our newest version of detoxing. While you sit in your favorite chair, and there's a lot of talk about foot baths out there, and
yeah, for sure.
Is it for real? Does it work? And all of that sort of thing. And I'm by no means a doctor. I'm
myself either, but I pursued this for my own personal reasons. There's lots of different reasons people pursue detoxification in general. When your customers are calling you or they're having successes, what are some of the benefits that come to mind?
Well, the biggest thing is what we experienced was more energy, less pain, more well-being increase. And the biggest thing which we experienced when my wife was very sick is had hope again of
living that life.
Yeah, well, the struggles of a toxic body, and that's where we found that there's lots of people struggling with that all the time, and we tried many drinks, and we kind of stumbled upon it. Bev went to a wellness clinic 2 hours away from us, and tried it. From her cousin recommended it to her, and so the first day she came back, she says, I tried something today, and I'm not sure what it was. I would put my feet in the water, and after 30 minutes, it was disgustingly dirty and
anybody who's done one can relate.
And a guy like myself, I'm an auto mechanic by trade, and we struggled. We really wanted to try a lot of different things, or medical. Kept telling her, try this, try that, and it's all in your head or whatever. But she got results that she had hope again, that she was feeling better, and I was skeptic. You put your feet in a bucket of warm water, and so I was definitely skeptic at the beginning, but now, wow, I was really enthused after we got our own unit.
It is certainly, the benefits vary for everyone, and I think what probably resonated with Bev is what a lot of people can connect with. You just want to move and feel better and have the energy. And a lot of times people are you don't know what you're dealing with. You just don't know that you don't feel right. If you wouldn't mind sharing, and it's sometimes hard to think back, what would you expect from that first session? We talked about how nasty and looks, but what would the average person looking to improve their health expect out of their first detox session?
A feeling of just feeling a better well-being.
Better
You
well-being.
know, I feel more energy, uh, and not something, but
Yeah.
uh, usually feel something. And, you know, as human beings, what I find, we need to see, we need to visual for, and bath didn't change color, didn't get off an offensive odor, something like that, we probably wouldn't
Yeah.
be here
Yeah.
today. And tens of thousands of other people who have invested in our
Yeah.
foot bath wouldn't do the same. I mean, it's so visual. It gives you hope again. No wonder I feel so terrible. But, you know,
Yeah.
after thousands and thousands of detoxes, I've never had person say that's a bad experience. They love it.
Yeah.
You know, you sit in your favorite chair, your feet in warm water.
Yeah.
Like, how could anything be any better
Yeah,
than that?
I think easy is a big thing, and my first session has your first session is always your first session if you're taking a break and maybe getting back to it, or you've gone through some health concerns. But I think that first session, to your point, it is a visual experience, and what even you can't convey on camera sometimes is the odors. I'm not going to talk about me today, but I've known John for the better part of a decade, and started foot baths on studio life, and I have thousands of these foot baths under my belt, and I can tell if somebody colored their hair the night before, if they had too much garlic. I remember one customer, for all the ones that I've done, you've always got those few in your head, but I remember she came with a bunch of friends, was the naysayer, oh, this is just, fuddy-duddy voodoo stuff. And there was this, I wouldn't say it was a plastic, but it was, to me, it was like a gas or a chemical smell was all I could smell coming off this woman. And it turns out she worked at a propane plant. And it wasn't her clothing. It was towards the end of that first session. Things were looking black and gross. But, so to John's point, that first session is going to be a different experience for everybody based on, what's within your system, the home water that you're using. It's going to be a little bit different every time. But for the most part, it's very relaxing. You sit down, there's very little effort, and we'll get into a little more detail on the actual process here in incoming questions. Back to something that we've already touched on to a degree. What do the colors in the water mean? There's a lot of talk, everybody's an expert, and every website is making claims, but there are some basis to this. And I know that you didn't invent the color chart, but I'd like to hear your understanding of what that represents.
As far as we know and have learned is this is Chinese technology, Chinese medicine, and the people that read the eyes, iridologists.
Yes, I do.
That's where one of the places Bev was going to find out that she was too toxic with too many heavy metals in her body, and so the dark brown or black is from the liver, and the black flecks are as far as we know is heavy metals. And that's what I had in my water when I first started, because I had been a mechanic for over 30 years. So my water was terribly black. But orange is usually from the joints, and dark green from the gallbladder, and if there's a foam, it's coming from the lymph nodes, and also if it's a cheese like white, that's yeast. And a lot of us harbor yeast in our body.
So the metals in the water, the big thing I see when I'm looking at other sites and a lot of the claims out there, and to be honest, a question a lot of people ask is about the metal. And I just wanted to add that in my experience with these foot baths, sometimes that people are seeking this as a heavy metal detox, and sometimes you don't. And another experience I'll share, the only client that ever got ill and was violently ill, felt like they had the flu for about 5 days. We found after the fact that they were very, very full of heavy metals, particularly mercury, cadmium, and aluminum. So they had some different detoxification that they used, but it was one of those situations where, I knew something in my gut was telling me, something else is going on here. This is not a normal reaction. And both him and his wife are industrial farmers, that had been exposed to a number of industrial chemicals over the years on top of the metal. And, so to me, in that example, it was, it not only validated that it is doing and affecting our body and how it's not about taking the metals out of you immediately and depositing in that bath, but it allows your body's system to function more on par with how it's supposed to and aid in that detoxification. And some of the science that I have read shows that the aluminum and some of the heavy metals being extracted 2 to 3 weeks after the fact is substantial, or the levels in the body have dropped substantially. So, another reason to look at this this isn't a one-time thing. This is part of incorporating into that healthier lifestyle. And the colors are going to be different from person to person. You have to experience for yourself, is going to be my 2 cents.
Yes, and I will just want to top on that. It's not everything from the body. 20 to 40% is the regional toxicity of the bath water itself.
Yeah.
60 to 80% is from the body, as far as we can tell. And it's not just the 30 minutes that you're doing that. It's ongoing for 24 to 72 hours after, because it's
just like
elevating.
Exercise. You
Yeah.
feel the effects
Yeah.
as I get older. It's 2 or 3 days after the fact that I'm feeling those squats, and
Right.
that leads perfectly into actually my very next question, because there has been some press out there. There's always the naysayers. It always takes less muscles to frown than it does to smile.
Yeah.
So, is there coloration in the water if you do it without feet or put a carrot? I've seen several versions of this, and, I've never said you do not, but let's maybe explain that a little further, as you have been.
Well, yes, and that's what we want to be very open with, that that there is color change. If you didn't have feet in that water, it still will change color with the reaction from the array in the water, the sea salt and the water itself that has
naturally occurring to a degree.
Yeah, ionization. This is all ionization technology from years and years ago. We didn't develop this.
Yeah.
And
could you elaborate a little bit on what ionization is in simple terms, if that's possible?
What the ionization process, they use this technology in sewage plants to clean up the water to pass drinking water standards.
Of course.
So if there's no feed in the water, it wants to clean up the water. The minute you put your feet in the water, that water is a very, very high concentration of trillions of the ions in the water. Yeah. Our bodies are a very low concentration. So we're like a big sponge. As soon as we put our feet in the water, we're sucking
become part of that process
into our water, or through our bodies, through the pores of our feet or hands, whatever you're using in the foot bath. And the blood comes down to cool your feet from the warm foot bath water. And so instantly you're absorbing that for the whole 30 minutes.
Of course.
And it elevates your hydrogen peroxide in your bodies. And, if so it's continually cleaning the at a deep cellular level in your body. And that's why it's so important that we keep hydrated. And
with any form of detoxification, the one thing I've always been told, I'm almost 50, I've checked out a few things, and even if you go for a massage, they're going to encourage you're moving that lymphatic and that circulation. You want to make sure that you're giving your body the optimal chance to get that optimal outcome. John, on this, it all sounds very technical, very complicated. We're trying to keep this simple today. Do I need a license to use this Hyperbath? Do I need to be a service provider? What does that look like?
This is is not a, and we always put this disclaimer, it's not a medical device. It's not a cure or diagnosis of any
Yeah.
sort. And if my 10-year-old grandson can easily do this, as long as you can fill it with warm water,
Yeah.
and press the buttons. I've made this. I told you I'm a mechanic is my
Yeah,
background.
I can
I
imagine
didn't develop
diligence.
this, but you need to keep things simple.
Okay. So anybody
There's
can
a
do
start stop button.
6 months worth of training to learn
No.
how to do it. And, I guess maybe I started
On
as a
the
business.
other hand, though, I just want to be clear. We do
Sure.
offer an online training certification course to everybody because I want people to have a little knowledge instead of listening to critics that
I
don't
respect that.
understand what it is, and that's available
Yeah.
because you know if we're educated, we're more usually open to
Yeah.
this
At
sort
least
of
exploring as a
thing.
potential option. Yeah. And well, I think, going back to when you first started exploring and listening to your passion about how this changed your life and Bev's health, you had many of these same questions. So my next question was, is this something I could use as a business? I looked into this initially as a product to complement other things, but if there's no license required, it's great that you've got tools available. Whether I'm doing this in my home or I want to add this in my business or start a business at home, the tools are available until you get the experience and the confidence when you're dealing with different individuals and their detoxification pathways. So, if I did want to do this as a business or a home-based business, is there other options available? Is there other products? How would this look as a business and what do you offer versus a home user?
Yeah, that's a good question, Deb. We really support that because that's how we got into it. Bev never she never thought that she'd do it as a business when she first started. She was interested in her own health and our family's health, but as people see her getting more energy and all that, what are you doing? And she started doing foot baths out of our home. And that's where I got interested in it, to build something that there was support there.
Yeah.
That there's so many machines and it's in anything. There's knockoffs and cheap and no support there. So that's where my son and I developed our own Ion Detox machine. But to go further on that, we have a complete marketing done for you marketing package.
Awesome.
But if somebody wants to do it, and we have a lot, because it doesn't compete with anything.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what you're doing with the exercise.
So you'd recommend using it with other services and in complementary treatments?
Absolutely. Like there's not just one thing, it's a combination, and it's always like that. But we do need to know that we need to detox regularly. And if it's just changing your eating habits, but this is so much more to add on. Like even stay-at-home moms or a lot of people nowadays have their own home businesses. With essential oils, this works beautiful with essential oils or supplements or energy workers.
Anything that's going to bring, enhance that. Well, and with me, I'm more on the fitness and the recovery with the vibration exercise. And, I'll attest, and many of my clients will, if I'm using a vibration machine prior to doing my detox, there's way more crud in the water. And often, if a lot of my clients are dealing with chronic conditions, they're recovering, trying to flush meds out of their system, I like combining it to just give it that added advantage of additional lymph. And in unison, you're just giving your body, again, that more optimal outcome. We've talked about medical devices.
I just want to add on to that, that we did get it approved through the College of Massage Therapists. as
Awesome.
hydrotherapy. So now
There
in
you go.
Ontario, massage therapists can use it as for the benefits along with what they're doing. And massage therapists, they work really hard, and
Yeah,
you're
they do. They
limited
do.
to what you can do. And
Well, and they
chiropractors
have
and
such a keen, in-depth knowledge into that lymphatic system, the detoxification piece. And, like anything else, it's just going to ramp up the results they're getting out of their manual applications too.
yeah.
Awesome to hear, John. Awesome. So that being said, we've talked about the medical side, you don't need a medical license. It's nothing. This is an alternative, easy to perform treatment, but it is an electrical device. And there's our feet and water, and I have my experience with other examples of this technology. Tell me a little bit about this being an electrical device and some of the safety standards that you've put into place.
Yeah, so our unit is complete CE approved, which is the World Electrical
World standard for sure.
82-page document, to be sure. And people get a little anxious. You're plugging this into the wall and putting my
For sure.
but it's 100% safe because there's a transformer aside from the foot bath itself. So it's a direct current, and it's a low direct current that it's so low that you can't even feel it. But
well, without getting into a lot of detail, there is a positive, negative current, and you've taken care of like literally the machine. In my experience, some of the other ones you've had to go in, and I'm not the expert. That's why I work with you and have for years. But I find with I don't know how long this cycle's supposed to run, and I'm not an electrician nor a mechanic. So, myself being one thing, if I'm using this with friends, family, or customers, that's important to me to know that, there's diligence in that piece, because, there's no risk at all. And unless something's either poorly designed, we're using, in my experience, low quality components. And, when you're dealing with something like this, I just feel, again, it's just easy the way that you design the controls, and you don't even have to think about that piece is all taken care of.
Yeah, there's only one program on it. So it's a 70-30, which means it's on positive, putting negative ions into the water for 7 minutes. And then it is programmed to switch to negative, which is putting positive ions in the water for 3 minutes. And there's no way we can make any mistakes here. It's all programmed in the machine. You press the start button,
everybody's doing the same treatment. And maybe to touch on that piece, the time, I know the typical session in much of the marketing I've seen is 30 minutes, but there are provisions, there are exceptions to that. Could you maybe give an example of when a session, may run less than 30 minutes, or when we may reduce exposure to it?
Some people are very low on energy because it takes a lot of energy to detox.
Any detoxification,
yes.
Well, we're expelling toxins and some of the good stuff as part of that process.
Yeah. So we always tell people, listen to your body of what's going on here, because if you're feeling really, really drained, you maybe not be able to do it every day or every second day for the 30 minutes. Maybe you should. And we suggest children under 10 do it maybe 15, 20 minutes.
They're not going to be as toxic unless there's been an intervention, for sure.
They're usually toxic, but more on the weight end of it. And
understand body type, body size. Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
But it programs for 30 minutes. You can put it up to 60 minutes. We feel 30 minutes is a ideal cleanse.
So kind of back to your first question, like depending on how that, that first session is going to be different for everyone. If you do feel you're particularly drained, or you slept for 14 hours the next day, which I wouldn't mind once in a while, do a little catch up. But so yeah, and if of course we have any questions, there's folks like you and resources in place to see if you should make any customizations that way. we've talked about certification now. We've talked about, medical use, so I think we've kind of answered my next question is, can I use this with a medical condition? Sometimes I know that I have a medical condition. Sometimes I don't. What would that look like?
There are a couple contraindications, and
Okay.
again, a pacemaker.
Okay.
Somebody with a pacemaker should check with their doctor, and
Okay.
I'm not sure, but recently I think they've changed the pacemakers that they're not interfered with a lot of electrical.
I think the
devices.
pacemakers themselves have evolved, and there's less
Yes.
interference. I find that with other technologies as well, the pacemaker and some other former contraindications. And that may be a better understanding of the process. Maybe now that this technology's been out and there's a little bit more practical experience to draw from, I'll admit it, I have clients that, don't call me with everything, and I know they have pacemakers, and many of them have had no issues. What you pursue on your own and discuss with your own doctor, we just suggest, discussing detox in general with them if you're appropriate first.
Yeah. The other one is pregnant women should not, and they're usually cautioned to not detox while they're pregnant.
In general.
The other thing that we always, I'm so hyped that.
See, what a happy ringtone. What a happy guy.
Yeah, we want to have the whistle.
That's
Anyways, pregnant women and anybody's on life-threatening medications, we caution them to, if somebody's had a heart transplant and they're on medication, to not reject that organ. I would probably not recommend.
Again, back to the your doctor knows your situation better than us, for sure.
So check with your meds or medical, and if you're on medication, we suggest schedule the medication after you have the foot bath or 4 hours before, just so you're not taking anything out.
Okay. My very last question is almost 50 woman, and it's a question I get asked a lot on the exercise piece, but I think there could be potential benefits here. Can I lose weight doing this? It's probably a common one you get. To me, logically, there's reasons that would be a question you would get. How would you answer that?
Absolutely. We've had lots and lots of testimonials on losing weight, but it's not going to just, you can't be sitting in the foot bath and eating chips and sitting on the couch all day.
No?
It's
vegetable chips maybe.
But
yes.
Regular detox. See, our bodies like to harbor toxins, and they create fat cells to protect us.
Yes.
So that's why a lot of people that go on a diet, yes, they'll lose that, but after they gain more back because they're toxic. They're so
the yo-yo effect.
The only way to maintain is through regular detoxification, and that's where
in conjunction with an overall healthier lifestyle.
Right. With there's so much to complement with it that, like I said before, it's not just the foot bath, but it enhances any program out there that you're.
Well, I would say, as a girl, I'll elaborate too, because sometimes how women gain weight at certain points of their life is different, and I can say from my own experience with John's product, can I lose weight with this? I had a number of clients that, they'd love to hit the gym and do other things. But again, back to that moving and feeling better piece, if this product can give you the ability to not only detoxify, which contributes to weight gain in many, many ways, we're not going to elaborate here. But if you can get the energy to just get moving and feeling better, it can be a catalyst effect. Maybe you'll go for that walk after dinner. Yes. We tend to get into, when we start one good thing, it tends to be a ripple effect, and we embrace other good things, whether it's food, whether it's whatever. And, friends and family being your support. So, I've always found with the foot baths, we've always had them set up as a pair. And it's a social thing, and, you weren't there for your foot bath this week. So, sometimes the peer pressure piece, and especially when we're talking weight loss, the hardest thing is to just get started. So whether this is your catalyst, as we've talked about, there's other modalities you combine, but, I think what I love so much about the Hyperbath is its simplicity. John said, put some nice warm water in it, get yourself a cup of tea or some great alkaline water, and, make the time, invest the time, whether it's 30 minutes, even just once a week is still better than not at all. And make it a family thing. So, that everybody's experience is a little different, but, from the weight loss perspective, any one thing is never going to be the secret ingredient, but it absolutely has shown to be a catalyst for many of my friends and family. So thanks for elaborating on that. I think I've kind of covered everything I was hoping to discuss today. I really want to thank you for being so generous with your time. And I know that there's many more questions and answers available on Healthy Living for You's website. We'll put some links and some references today. And if there's any questions we haven't covered today and are not on John's site that you would like answered, everybody's different. And, our thought process is different. And as we detoxify, we think more and we get smarter. So you might have different questions than what we've answered today. So, John, what's the best place to get in touch with you if we do have more questions?
Probably the website or healthierlivingforyou.com in the number 4. And
a phone number? Do you have a phone number for those that like to talk to your pretty face?
Yeah, we have a toll-free number in North America, 866-745-5743.
Awesome. Thank you very much, John. I look forward to maybe doing some more of these with you in the future and digging in a little deeper to the detox world.
By all means, that's our passion, if we can help people to not struggle like we had to years ago.
Not learn the hard way like we had to. Eh?
Yeah.
Thanks very much, John.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.